Kyle Roberts, Battalion Chief here at the Balch Springs Fire Department. I've been here 31 years. We service an area of about 9 square miles, contract out to another entity to do our ambulance service, and we just respond with them as a first responder, and we take care of all the fire calls, MVAs, motor vehicle accidents, and that nature.
My name is Jonathan Haber, and I'm the Chief of Police at the Balch Springs Police Department. We have 39 sworn officers. We're about to increase that number to 41, and we have 60 employees.
The situation with our communications is that we were using basically 1970s technology. It was a conventional VHF system, so we were not able to communicate very well among ourselves.
Before we had a VHF system, and we had very limited capability with that, especially communications on the fire ground to dispatch. Even though we had a repeater, we didn't always get through efficiently. We had real difficult problems communicating with fire personnel that were working interior fires.
Officers could be across the street and try to get out on the old VHS system, and dispatch couldn't read them. There were times myself where I was at Walmart and been in a physical confrontation and hit the emergency button on the radio or tried to call for a backup unit, and they would never hear you. The transmission would never get out. So for us, it was a safety issue. It was officer safety. We couldn't communicate with one another. We couldn't communicate with our dispatch. If we had something on the highway, we couldn't communicate with the fire department. So the big word is safety, safety, safety. The reason we decided to upgrade is because we knew we had a problem, and we had an opportunity to fix it. And so we just moved forward with it. I got with Sergeant Pavina. He got in contact with Larry at Stoltz Communications and did a feasibility study and the radio waves and all that stuff.
We decided that we needed to transition to an 700-800 megahertz system, preferably P25. So then we were in communications and asked to have a proposal put together of what all we would need it. We also wanted to keep our legacy system intact because a lot of the agencies still use the legacy VHF system, Dallas County Sheriff's Office being one of those. So we still needed to be able to communicate with them, and we didn't want to be exclusively on a P25 system without being able to communicate with other agencies that were still on legacy VHF. One of the things that we really appreciate about the P25 standard is that we have a backbone system that is powered by Tait using the repeaters and the mobiles in the cars, but we're also able to integrate other vendors' products such as the Kenwoods, Motorola's, and E.F. Johnson, which is what we use for our portable radios, and they are all able to mesh together using that backbone of the system because of those P25 compliance standards. 3 or 4 days after we transitioned and went live with the P25 system, an officer had used his panic button, and it immediately went out, and he was involved in a physical altercation with the suspect, and he received help within 2 to 3 minutes.
I know it works really well. I mean, it's amazing the difference in the way we can communicate now.
Oh, they all love it, and they would get frustrated when they would call to dispatch and need something in the VHF system, and they couldn't raise them for whatever reason because they're in a low spot or whatever within the city, and they couldn't raise dispatch when they needed help. This has alleviated that problem, and it all boils down to just being able to communicate with dispatch and fire officers, and that being able to do that where we couldn't before is just, I can't say how much improvement it has been.
The radio system has helped our response times, which helps us better meet the needs of our community and our citizens that live here.